E3 may be dead, but that doesn't mean we didn't get something equivalent this summer in terms of a lot of games being announced all around the same time. Over the past month, we've got a lot of game presentations, both big and small, and it seems like the bulk of the game announcements came primarily from 3 different places, from the PlayStation Showcase, Summer Game Fest, and the Xbox Game Showcase. Also, as I'm recording this, Nintendo just announced that there'll be a Nintendo Direct tomorrow, so I'll cover the games from that in a future video. But today I want to count down the top 10 games from this Not-E3 season. I've got a mix of games from all the different presentations spanning many different genres. Some of the games will be big games that you'll definitely expect to see on a list like this, but I've also got some games that are a little more obscure, maybe something you wouldn't expect to see on a list like this, or maybe games that you forgot were even featured at all. Now, this list is my personal opinion, but I would love to see what your top 10 list would look like in the comments of this video. All right, let's get started with number 10, Fable. We got our first proper trailer of this game at the Xbox Game Showcase. I know a lot of people are excited about this game, myself included, but the reason it's so low on the bottom of this list is because the trailer just didn't really show us what this game actually was. What we saw looked great though, and I do have a lot of faith in the developer Playground Games. These are the folks behind the Forza Horizon games. And I know it seems strange having this team go from something like a racing game to a game like Fable, but I think it'll work because everything they put out has been super high quality. The worlds are like super detailed and they're just expansive, and I think that this really can work out. Obviously, I'll be more excited about it once we see some gameplay and I see that it's something that I really will like, but I really do think this has the potential to be something great. All right, for number 9, we got Activision's new online multiplayer game, Crash Team Rumble. This one was featured at Summer Game Fest and it's actually out today as I'm recording this video. This one's actually a little bit of a weird choice for me because although I do enjoy some online multiplayer games, it's not usually something I get too hyped about. This one's a little different though because a few months ago Activision actually invited us to try out the beta. We were able to stream it over on our Twitch channel and we actually ended up having a blast. It's a really weird game that's hard to tell what's going on when you're looking at video of it, and describing it is also kind of hard to do. But essentially the game pits 2 teams against each other and each team is racing to see who can gather the most Wumpa fruit while also avoiding the other team's attempts to stop them. I actually think Activision's going to have a really hard time selling gamers on trying this one, but I think that once people get into it, they're going to find out that this actually is pretty good and it's really fresh feeling. I actually kind of think this game should have gone with the free-to-play model just so that gamers could get in and try it for free without having, a price barrier in front of them. But I know that free-to-play games, that kind of opens up its own can of worms, so I could be wrong about that. For number 8, I've got a game that I almost guarantee you wouldn't have expected to see on this list, but I want to tell you about it because I want to convince you to give this game and maybe even this entire series a try because it's so much better than you'd expect. It got its reveal trailer at Summer Game Fest, and that's Cat Quest Pirates of the Purribean. Now, if you don't know about the Cat Quest series, you're not alone. They're not super well known, but those who have played them know that these are really great 2.5D action RPGs. The RPG mechanics are accessible enough for casual players, and the atmosphere is really light and fun. The combat's simple, but can actually be really demanding, and the writing is hilarious, and it's filled with all kinds of puns about pets. Catherine and I actually just finished playing through Cat Quest II last night, so I was actually really excited to find out that this new game, Pirates of the Purribean, it will also have co-op play. I'm telling you, you might want to give this game a try when it releases next year. The trailer made it look like it's exactly in line with the previous games, which means it's going to be pretty great. Moving on to number 7, we have the game that kicked off Summer Game Fest, and that's Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Prince of Persia has its roots in 2D gaming, and although I've not tried this series yet, I'll absolutely be giving this game a shot when it comes out. Now, I'm an outsider to the series, but I was really surprised to see how much hate this game and trailer got online. People don't like that you don't play as the prince, they really didn't like the music that was in the trailer, and also people are just kind of mad that it's a 2D game. But to me, the game just looks super fun. The combat looks super fluid, and it almost gives me like Metroid Dread vibes. It can be hard to be excited about a game that so many people are hating on, but I just can't help it here. I just don't think this one's going to be as bad as so many people are making it out to be. At number 6, we've got a game that we've known about for a few months, but it was really good to get a really good look at it at the Xbox Game Showcase, and that's Cities Skylines II. As a kid, I played so much SimCity and SimCity 2000. Those are like some of my favorite games of all time. But now that the SimCity, kind of series has been put out to pasture, Cities Skylines has come in to fill the void. And if you played that first Cities Skylines games, you know why so many people are excited about this one, because it looks like they took the original game, but just turned everything up to 11. I think it'll end up being the most realistic and detailed city builder we've ever seen, and I cannot be more pumped. Star Wars Outlaws is my number 5 game, and honestly, I almost put this one up higher on my list because it really does look amazing. This one was revealed at the Xbox Game Showcase, but we got a deeper look at it at the Ubisoft Forward event. It seems super ambitious and almost a little too good to be true, but if they end up delivering on what they promised here, I think this one has the potential to end up being massively successful. I mean, it's Star Wars, so it's not going to completely flop no matter what, but it really does seem like a genuinely different and not so traditional take on a game in the Star Wars universe. It could end up being really refreshing for Star Wars fans, so who knows? We'll find out how big of a game this really ends up being once it comes out. Number 4 is an upcoming survival horror game that we actually got to see at 2 different events. Alan Wake 2 got a gameplay reveal trailer at the PlayStation Showcase and got some straight up gameplay shown at Summer Game Fest. I enjoyed the first Alan Wake game well enough, but that's really not why I'm so excited about the sequel. Really, the reason I'm so excited about it is because Remedy is making this a straight up survival horror game that seems to be really heavily influenced and inspired by the Resident Evil remakes. And in my book, that's a recipe for success. I really love the Resident Evil games, and I'm excited to see how Remedy takes that influence and combines it with the narrative structure of something like Alan Wake. Next, for number 3, we have a game that I think will be a lot of people's number 1 game, and that's Starfield. And I actually really love how Bethesda seems super confident about this. I just hope that that confidence is genuine and not just a marketing ploy. They showed something like over 40 minutes of gameplay at the Xbox Game Showcase, and that was really great for me because I really needed to be sold on Starfield. Before the presentation, I was super dubious of the game, but after, I completely flipped my opinion on it. And again, kind of like Star Wars Outlaws, some of it seemed too good to be true, but I just can't help but be hyped by what we were shown. It's obvious that this game is extremely ambitious, and I'm sure there'll be tons of bugs at launch, but if Bethesda is even able to deliver a half-competent game at launch, I think it's going to be amazing. And yeah, it's a bummer that this game's going to be locked at 30 frames a second, but I don't think that's the end of the world for a game like this. Okay, now for the top 2. My number 2 game that was featured in these showcases was Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. I'm super excited to play this because I know the end product's going to be a crazy, just killer, really interesting experience. So it kind of hurts me to say that I think the new trailer we got at the Xbox Game Showcase was actually really bad. The trailer went all in on the voices in your head thing, and that's definitely a big part of the experience of these Hellblade games, but it's not the gameplay. The gameplay trailer we got a few years ago at the Game Awards was way better in my opinion. I just don't think this new trailer is going to convince any gamers to go out and try this game, which is a shame because the first game was straight up incredible. It's like one of the best gaming experiences you can have. Back when I first played the original game, I ended it thinking it was good, but you know, as time has gone on, it's one of those games that I keep thinking about over and over and over. It's one of those experiences that really stick with you, and in my mind, that's a really good sign of a great game. Now, in terms of Hellblade 2, I get that the team behind this game is all about some weird trailers, so I get it, but I just don't think it was a good marketing decision. Still, I'm super excited to play Hellblade 2, and I know it'll probably be great. And I really do urge you to go out and play the first one. I've seen it go super cheap on Steam, and there's even a VR version of the game on there too. All right, now for the big one, the number 1 game of Not-E3 2023. You may have guessed it. Heck, the image may have been in the thumbnail, but we got a big gameplay demo at the PlayStation Showcase, and we got a reveal date at Summer Game Fest, and that's Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I've been sold on this game since the moment it was announced. In fact, I'm already so sold on it that I didn't even initially watch the gameplay trailer that was at the PlayStation Showcase because I just didn't want any of it to be spoiled for me. But I decided that since I'm making this video that I would go back and watch that gameplay trailer just in case anything too crazy stood out to me. And now after watching it, nothing too crazy got spoiled, but I kind of wish I hadn't watched it still. But anyway, my favorite thing from this gameplay trailer was actually a new traversal tool, and that's a kind of like a wingsuit, and it looks like both Miles and Peter will get to use it. Miles was more prominently featured in the trailer using it, but we actually got to see at the very end it looked like Peter also had it, which is pretty cool. And as you know, traversal in these Spider-Man games is half the fun. Just getting around itself is super satisfying, and it seemed like this wingsuit's can be a really great new addition that seems really fun. I also really just love that you're going to be swapping back and forth between Miles and Peter throughout the game. I think it's the perfect way to tackle the next game in this series. I was a huge fan of both the original Spider-Man game and Miles Morales, so this Spider-Man 2, which is really the third Spider-Man game, is like by far, hands down, my most hyped game from these presentations. But finally, I'd like to go over some honorable mentions for games that just barely didn't make it onto this list. I didn't include the Resident Evil 4 Remake VR mode or the new Cyberpunk DLC on this list because those are more additions to existing games rather than new games. Still Still though, I'm super excited about both of those. There's also some like artsy indie games like Jusant and Sword of the Sea that I'll definitely probably check out, but it's just hard to be super excited about those games when I haven't had any hands-on time with them yet. And finally, there are a couple games that I am excited for, but I think they probably just won't end up being my jam, and that's Assassin's Creed Mirage and Mortal Kombat 1. I'm not that into Assassin's Creed games, but I do think I'll give Mirage a go, and Mortal Kombat 1 is like, looks amazing, but I'm just not into fighting games that much, but who knows, maybe this will be a game that'll get me into fighting games. Now tell me, are there any games that I left off this list completely that you think I should have had on there? Or are there just some games that I didn't mention that you think I should maybe try and play when they come out? Let me know in the comments, and while you're at it, why not join the Gaming Gig Discord server? There's an invite link in the description of this video, and it's a great place to directly stay in contact with me and other members of the Gaming Gig community. Over at the Discord server, we have conversations about gaming every day. So hopefully I'll see you there. I'm Randy from Gaming Gig, and I'll see you next time.